For 60 years, the entire technology industry has obeyed a single rule. It was never a law of government, never a law of physics, really. It was a prediction made by a man named Gordon Moore in 1965 that quietly became the heartbeat of the modern world. Every smartphone, every laptop, every data center, every AI model you've ever touched exists because of it. The rule was simple. Every 2 years, you make the transistors on a chip smaller. You pack twice as many of them onto the same sliver of silicon, and everything gets faster, smaller, smaller. For 6 decades, that one word drove a trillion-dollar industry forward. And on May 25, 2026, on a stage in Shanghai, a woman the Chinese tech world calls the chip queen stood up and told a room full of the world's leading engineers that the rule is finished, done, that the future of computing would not be won by making things smaller, and that her company had spent the last 6 years quietly proving it, building 381 chips in total secrecy to back up the claim. Her name is He-Ting Bo. The company is Huawei, and what she proposed isn't a new chip, it's a new rule to replace the one that's governed all of technology since before the moon landing. Now, is this a genuine breakthrough, or a desperate company spinning a limitation into a headline? That's the real question. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to answer it yourself. Let's get into it. To understand why this matters, you have to understand why Moore's law was running out of road in the first place. Because this part isn't propaganda, it's physics, and the whole industry agrees on it. Picture a transistor as a tiny switch. Moore's law was the promise that engineers would keep shrinking that switch, year after year, fitting more and more of them into the same space. In 1971, a leading chip had a few thousand transistors. Today's most advanced processors have tens of billions. That staggering journey is Moore's law in action. But here's the problem. Transistors are now so small, they're measured in nanometers. And a few nanometers is a span of just a handful of atoms. You cannot shrink something forever. Eventually, you hit a wall where the switch is so tiny that electrons start leaking through it even when it's supposed to be off, where heat becomes unmanageable, and where the machines needed to etch these features cost hundreds of millions of dollars each. The closer you get to the size of individual atoms, the more every further step costs, and the less you get back. The returns don't just shrink, they collapse. The entire industry has known this reckoning was coming for years. Even Moore's own law was, in a sense, always going to expire. You can't keep having your way down to nothing. The question was never whether the smaller is better era would end. The question was what comes after it, and who would define the rule that replaced it. That's the door Huawei just walked through, and the reason Huawei walked through it first has a lot to do with something that was supposed to cripple them. Here's the twist that makes this story genuinely fascinating. Huawei didn't develop this new approach purely out of scientific curiosity. They developed it because they had no choice. For years, Huawei has been cut off from the most advanced chip-making machines on Earth, specifically the extreme ultraviolet lithography systems built by a single Dutch company, the only tools capable of etching the very smallest transistors. Those machines are the engine of Moore's law. No access to the machine, no way to keep shrinking. So while the rest of the industry kept racing down the shrinking path, the path that requires those banned machines, Huawei was locked out of the race entirely. Most observers assumed that meant Huawei would simply fall further and further behind, permanently. Instead, being locked out forced a different question. If you can't win by making transistors smaller, can you win some other way? Can you get more performance out of chips you're already able to build, without needing the forbidden machine at all? That question is the seed of everything. Huawei's chairman has even pointedly thanked the export restrictions for supercharging China's semiconductor industry. And as strange as that sounds, this is exactly what he meant. The wall didn't stop them. It redirected them down a road nobody else was seriously exploring, because nobody else was desperate enough to need it. And what they found at the end of that road is a genuinely different way of thinking about what a chip even is. So what actually is this new rule? Let me explain it in a way that sticks, because the core idea is beautiful in its simplicity. Huawei calls it the Tau scaling law. Tau, written as the Greek letter tau, is a symbol engineers use to represent time, specifically, the time it takes for a signal to travel from one part of a chip to another, and that single shift, from measuring size to measuring time, is the whole revolution. Think of a chip as a city. Moore's law was obsessed with one thing, making the buildings smaller so you could cram more of them into the city. Huawei's Tau scaling law asks a completely different question. Forget the size of the buildings. How fast can a message get from one side of the city to the other? Because here's the secret the industry doesn't advertise. In a modern chip, a huge amount of time and energy isn't spent on the transistors switching. It's spent on signals traveling, crawling down long wires from one part of the chip to another. Shrinking transistors does nothing to fix that. You can have the smallest, fastest switches in the world, but if the messages between them have to travel a long way, the whole system waits. Huawei's insight: stop fixating on the switches, start attacking the distance. Make the signals travel less, arrive faster, and the entire chip speeds up, without shrinking a single transistor, and without ever touching the band machine. That's the rule. Not smaller, faster. And to make it real, they built something that sounds like science fiction, but is already rolling off production lines. The technology that turns this idea into reality is called LogicFolding, and the name is the perfect description of what it does. Imagine a city again, but this one is flat. Everything spread out across the ground, connected by long roads. Everything you do online is being watched. Your provider, advertisers, even governments. NordVPN encrypts your connection, hides your location, and unlocks the open internet from anywhere. Grab the deal, link in the description. Now imagine you could fold that city upward, stacking neighborhoods directly on top of each other, so the journey between them shrinks from miles to inches. That's logic folding. Instead of laying circuits out flat across a single layer of silicon, Huawei folds them into vertically stacked active layers, building up instead of out. The payoff is enormous. By stacking circuits vertically, the wires connecting them get dramatically shorter. Signals travel less distance, so they arrive faster. That's the time, the tau, being compressed. And as a bonus, folding the circuits upward also lets you pack more of them into the same footprint. Huawei claims this approach can deliver up to 55% higher transistor density and significantly better power efficiency, all at the same manufacturing process, with no need for the smaller, forbidden node. Read that again, because it's the heart of why this matters. More density, more performance, without shrinking the transistors, and without the machine they're banned from buying. If it works the way Huawei claims, it's a way to keep advancing chips that completely sidesteps the chokehold the restrictions were designed to create. And here's the detail that makes this more than a slideshow promise. Huawei says this isn't theoretical. Over the past 6 years, the company quietly designed and mass-produced 381 chips built on these principles, across smartphones, AI processors, and more. The first chips to fully adopt the logic folding architecture will be Huawei's new flagship Kirin processors, launching in the autumn of 2026. This isn't a lab demo. It's a production reality that the rest of the industry only just learned existed. Now here's the claim that made headlines around the world, and the part where I need to be straight with you. Huawei says that by 2031, chips designed with this approach could reach a transistor density equivalent to a 1.4 nanometer process. To understand why that's a bombshell, the most advanced chips being mass-produced today, by the world's leading foundry, sit at the 2 nanometer level. A 1.4 nanometer class density would put Huawei's designs ahead of where the global frontier is right now, achieved without the machines everyone assumed were absolutely required to get there. If that lands, it doesn't just close China's chip gap, it potentially erases it. But, and this is the honest catch you won't get from a hype video, there are real reasons for skepticism, and you should hold both things in your head at once. First, 1.4 nanometer equivalent is a claim about density equivalence, not the same thing as actually manufacturing a true 1.4 nanometer chip. It's a clever reframing, and critics argue it blurs an important line. Second, Huawei did not release independent performance data to back the headline numbers. We largely have the company's word. And third, stacking circuits vertically creates its own brutal problems, especially heat. When you fold a city upward, you also concentrate all its heat into a smaller space, and managing that is genuinely hard. So is this a real breakthrough, or a desperate company dressing up a limitation? The most honest answer is probably both. It's clearly born of necessity. Huawei built this because it was cornered. But born of necessity and genuine breakthrough are not opposites. Some of the most important leaps in history came from exactly that pressure. The 6 years of work and 381 real, shipped chips suggest there's substance here, not just a press release. The grand 2031 target is the part to watch with healthy skepticism. Step back, and here's what makes this a genuine turning point, rather than just another product announcement. For 60 years, the rule that governed chips was written by the West, followed by the West, and led by the West. Moore worked at the company that became Intel. The entire framework of progress, smaller, 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 was an American idea that the whole world adopted. Whoever defines the rules of a technology tends to lead that technology. What Huawei just attempted is not merely to catch up within the old rules, it's to rewrite the rules themselves, to propose a new definition of progress that happens to play directly to China's strengths and around its weaknesses. He Tingbo framed it not as a Huawei product but as a new guiding principle for the entire industry, openly inviting engineers worldwide to build on it. That's not the language of a company selling a chip. That's the language of a company trying to set the agenda for everyone else. And whether or not the 2031 target is hit precisely, the deeper shift is already real. The era where progress meant one thing, shrinking, is genuinely ending, for everyone, by the laws of physics. Something has to come next. And for the first time in the history of computing, one of the most serious proposals for what comes next was written in Shanghai, not Silicon Valley. There's one more detail worth sitting with. He Tingbo ended her keynote with a quiet promise. Before winter 2026, we will bring the surprise, a big leap ahead. Whatever that surprise is, the industry is now watching China to find out. And that, more than any single number, is the real story. The watching has reversed direction. Here's my honest opinion. I think the smartest way to see this is to refuse both of the easy takes. The people screaming, "Huawei just destroyed Moore's Law and humiliated the West," are getting ahead of the evidence. The headline numbers are unverified, the 2031 target is far off, and the heat problems are real. But the people waving it away as just propaganda from a cornered company are missing something just as important. 6 years of secret work and 381 mass-produced chips is not a press release. It's a track record. What genuinely fascinates me is the pattern. Glass substrates, diamond cooling, and now a wholesale attempt to redefine the rule of chip progress. Over and over, the same story repeats. A restriction designed to stop China instead forces China down a road no one else was exploring. And sometimes that road leads somewhere new. The wall meant to contain them keeps functioning as a map. I don't think that's a coincidence anymore. I think it's becoming the defining dynamic of this entire era of technology. Moore's Law was always going to end. The only real question was who would write the sentence that comes after it. The fact that Huawei is even in the running to write that sentence, that's the thing nobody saw coming 5 years ago. Here's my question for you, and I want your honest answer, because this one genuinely splits people. When you cut a competitor off from your best technology, are you protecting your lead, or are you forcing them to invent something better that you'll eventually have to compete with? Huawei's own chairman thanked the restrictions for making his company stronger. Was cutting China off a brilliant move, or the biggest strategic mistake of the decade? Drop your real take in the comments. I read them all. If you want to keep following this, the breakthroughs, the rule changes, the moves nobody saw coming until it was too late, subscribe to Eastern Engine and turn on notifications. Chips, materials, energy, the whole foundation of modern technology is being rewritten right now, and we break it down before the rest of the world catches up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.